testing my mic. I'm testing. Yep, there it is. Yep.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Catherine Vaccaro, a member of the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. I can say it. I'm also a worship attendant and a member of the congregation. With me today in our service are Reverend Margalie Belizaire, our Director of Lifespring Religious Enrichment, Judith Stein-Farrall, and our Director of Music, Aubrey Connelly-Candelario, and Board President, Greg Buckingham. Finally, let us not forget our teams of wonderful people in the background working diligently to ensure that we come together this morning. Thank you all. Children will go to activities when we sing them out after time for all ages, and the nursery is open until noon. We greet you this morning, old friends and new ones, as we explore our Unitarian Universalist faith, which draws us into a community of justice seekers with a commitment to lifelong spiritual growth and compassionate service to the community. As a Unitarian Universalist congregation, we are a non-creedal community that does not subscribe to a specific set of beliefs. We live by a covenant that encourages ethical behavior, affirms democracy, celebrates the worth of each individual, and unites us in a search for truth in meaning. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, you are welcome here. Whoever you are, whoever you love, your whole self is welcome. We welcome your race, national origin, immigration status, gender, sexual orientation, age, physical or mental abilities, economic status, or religious background. For more information about our congregation and announcements, go to orlandouu.org or email info@orlandouu.org. We, of course, have special announcements today. Aubrey and Reverend Margalie will be in the sanctuary. This is a change of venue for Let's Talk UU. You'll be invited to talk about your favorite UU hymn, and we will sing together. There will be hymnals available. Remember that next Sunday, October 20th, is Bring a Guest to Church Day, so be sure to invite someone to join us for worship. We also have a potluck after service. Stop by the Conversation Corner after service today for more information. Yummy. Tickets are on sale now for the next Milk District Salon concert, which will be Saturday, October 26th at 7 p.m. Please visit the church website for more details. Members of the music committee will be passing out handbills and promoting the concert today during coffee hour after service. Friday is the deadline for Share the Plate nominations for 2025. Please get them in. From Children's Religious Enrichment, this morning, after Time for All Ages, our children will be sung out to join Judith in the studio for a Work It Out workshop for After the Storm. And we invite Paul Knight to the pulpit. Come on up.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to give a little more detail in a couple of minutes, later in a call to action. Is that right? Or is this the call to action now? I can't remember what. This is just the announcement. Okay, I'm sorry. It's sort of a last minute thing here. So just a reminder, hit up the QR code to sign up for the Pride Parade. We want to make sure everybody knows the schedule, knows what they're going to be, and a little bit later I'm going to give a little more detail with regard to the schedule for the Pride Parade, and double check and make sure people are signed up. So please hit the QR code, get yourself signed up for the parade. Next Saturday, 4 p.m. we kick off. At about 2 p.m. we're going to start decorating, but again, in a couple of minutes or later on we'll have a little bit more details. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all other announcements are on slides before and after the service, and we have links in the weekly update and on our website. And if you'd like to follow along with the service and see this week's upcoming events, please use the QR code shown on the monitor. Thanks again for being here in person and online today.
And now, please join me in saying these words as we light the chalice. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And now, please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 1010, We Give Thanks. The words will be projected on the screen. I was ready to sing some more, Aubrey. Good morning, beloveds. It is so good to be with you this morning, especially following such an eventful week for us. And I am so glad that you were all able to get to the other side of Milton. I was going to call it Charlie for some reason. On the other side of Milton, and you're able to gather here this morning, whether in person or online. And I know that some of us still do not have electricity, and maybe others internet either. So hopefully that will return soon. And I hope that you and your loved ones are all well and your homes did not sustain much damage. Sending you extra love and deep breaths of beauty this morning. And we continue to engage the theme of the practice of deep listening today, which is the theme for this month of October. And today we invite you to explore when it is not a good idea to listen or to give something your full attention. And in that vein, I offer this prayer for us and to this space, encouraging us to be mindful of who we listen to is who we become. So get as comfortable as you can and let these words wash over you, taking in what feels right for you and letting go of the rest. Sometimes the world outside can be so loud, making it hard to hear these voices we once knew so well, voices that once knew us so well. And so, to silence, we turn to listen for the echoes of memories that make us whole, the pain of others that awakens our hearts, and the beauty of this wildly generous world that wants us back. Friends, in the quiet of this space, let us not just listen for clarity and guidance, but to become larger. Those voices whispering from deep within are not just calling us home, they are home. We don't have conversations, we are conversations. We must remember who we listen to is who we become. What we listen for determines our path. Yes, sometimes the world outside can be so loud. And so may the stillness we find here with companions who care for us, ensuring that we never get lost. So be it, and amen. And come, beloved, let us greet one another as we worship.
To share with us this morning. I have, for anyone who is here for the first time, my name is Judith Stein-Farrall. I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Enrichment. And to that, this morning, I invite children and children at heart who'd like to be up close and personal during the story to come up here and join me. You're welcome to stay in your seats. And we're going to I'm going to read a story, not so much show pictures today because it wasn't going to work that way today, and talk a little bit about the boundaries that we have and the ability to say no in relation to Reverend Margalie's message of the day. Do you all want to come over and sit on the carpet? You're fine there if you want to, but if you want to sit on the carpet, that's fine. And y'all can just join in as necessary. All right, good morning. The story I'm reading this morning, or we're kind of talking through this morning, is called I Can Say No. Can you all say no? No. Louder. No. All right. I'm not even going to try and show the pictures. They're too small on my Kindle. I can say no. Do you know and I should say the book, let me give credit to the story, is by Jenny Simons. Do you know that I have a superpower? No. Well, I do. I can't fly or see through walls. And I don't wear a cape or a special suit. My superpower is big. It's hard to come by. It's hard to come by. It doesn't make me invincible, but it gives me control over my life. You see, I learned a little word, and even though it's small, when I use it with authority, I'm the strongest of them all. This is not the book we read with you, is it? No, I didn't think so. It may seem simple or easy at first, but trust me, it's hard to utter this word. What does utter mean? Say it. Yeah, say it, utter, right. Okay, so you want to know the two-letter word that's helping me grow? To go, to say? No! I can say no to a movie I don't like. Yep. I can say no, I'm not into riding a bike. I can say no if I want to be alone or I'm feeling kind of tired and would rather stay at home. Do you ever feel that way? Where you just need time alone? Sometimes it's good to say that. I can say no. What you're saying is not true. Does that ever happen when someone says something that's not true? Yeah. Can you say no to them? Yeah. You can. It's hard though, right? To tell someone that what they're saying is not true. What do they say that's not true? Stereotypes. How about, let's work with something simpler than that today. Let's say that way is down.
The Earth's flat.
Is that true? Is it that way down?
No.
Say it again. Wait a minute. Oh, right.
The Earth's flat.
The Earth's flat. Is that true?
No.
All right. So what would you say if someone told you that?
No. I'd say that's not true.
That's not true.
It's also good to back up with evidence.
It's also good to back up with evidence.
We would call up here.
I like kids who know about evidence. Remember, that's one of our sources, right? Personal experience. And you can say, I'm not comfortable with the things you do. If someone's doing something that doesn't feel right,
Tell them.
you can tell them. There you go. Sometimes. I can say, no, this is my personal space. Please respect me. And I can, what else can you do?
You got the way.
Right, walk away. Yep.
You could, like, say, I have my own personal space and you do too.
She said, I have my own personal space and you do too. Sometimes I feel pressure to cave in. Does that ever happen to you? I don't want to say yes, but I want to fit in. You want it, right? Let's ditch her at recess, some kids might meanly say. but I'm learning to speak up. No, everyone can play. I can say no if I just don't have time, if I'm simply not interested. That's okay, it's fine. I can say no for a lot of different reasons, like protecting my heart or things I believe in. Right? Can you say that for me?
I do not have faith.
You do not have face? Do you believe that? I see a face there, though. I'm having another experience.
I have that. I absolutely faith.
I can use my words if someone looks down on me for the color of my skin or the makeup of my family. Right? I can say no, there is no room here for hate. I can say no. There is no room here for hate. There's no room here for injustice, unfairness, right? Or unkindness. What is it to be unkind? To be mean to others, to say mean words for no reason, right? To push people, yeah. Yeah. There's no room here for fear. Right? You're scared? I can say no to the thoughts in my head that tell me I'm worthless because I messed up again. I can say no to that. I can say no, I choose to be brave when quitting seems easier and I'm still afraid.
You can say no, even though we don't want to go to somebody's birthday party.
You can say that. And I think on that note, I will jump ahead. Sometimes in life we can't say no, right?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we can't say no. It's a bummer, but it's true. Like getting shots. We can't say no to that.
We can't say no to
Or
what our parents say.
or doing homework, right? Or chores, like our parents tell us. Or doing classwork. Or cleaning our house because
We have to do it.
because we have to do it, and Mom says, we don't live in a zoo. Yeah. Sorry? Doing the dishes. Chores. Yep. And I never use my no to bully somebody. I never use my no to bully someone or treat others with disrespect. If it's not a superpower. It's not a superpower to be mean or rude. So keep my no in check. Remember when to use it, right? All right. No can even keep you safe when someone tries to hurt you. You can yell,
Help!
or no, and run away and find a grown-up to protect you.
Say, someone's torturing me if it's true.
Right, but speak the truth, right?
Call 911.
All right.
If you know how.
So listen to yourself and listen to what is true. And remember that no is a superpower for you. All right. So, should we all go jump in a pool right now? Sorry, no. But we are going to have our adults who may not have signed up for it or had the flight attendants tell you that by sitting on the edge of the aisle that you are now responsible for creating a loving arch for our children to walk out of as we sing them out to the studio.
This little light of mine light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody. I'm Greg Buckingham, President of the Board of Trustees. We now invite you to a time of generosity. It is one of our spiritual values which sustains the ministries of the church community. Let us be grateful for the opportunity to give because it is a privilege to do so. And let us be grateful for our needs, for they give us the opportunity to practice receiving. Today's full collection will go to the ministries of this congregation, but you can also support this month's Share the Plate partner, Share the Care. Use the link in the newsletter or on the screen to donate directly to them, and please let one you know that you did that. The offering will now be collected, and remember, you can give online.
Listen to the voices of the old women. Listen to the voices of the old women, calling out the messages of the moon and sea, telling us what we need to know in order to be free. Listen to the voices of the old women. Listen to the voices of the Indian nations. Listen to the voices of the Indian nations, calling out the messages of the earth and sky, telling us what we need to know in order to survive. Listen to the voices of the Indian nation. Listen to the voices of the young children. Listen to the voices of the young children, calling out the messages of the heart and soul, telling us what we used to know before the lies were told. Listen to the voices of the young children. Listen to the voices of the Indian nations. Listen to the voices of the old women. Listen to the voices of the living.
Let us joyfully receive what is offered here today in the spirit of gratitude and fellowship.
This is the time that we set aside for deep sharing of our hearts and for prayer and meditation. If you have a sorrow that you need witness or help with, or have a joy that you wish to share, please contribute to a collective sharing of joys and sorrows to be read each Sunday here during the service. During the week, you can reach out to us by mail at joysandsorrows@orlandouu.org. And on Sunday mornings, if you're attending in person, you can fill out a card and the greeters make sure that we receive them up here. We also offer you the opportunity to light a candle as you hold whatever you need to hold on your heart. So bring your joys and your sorrows as we come together. Come just as you are, because your whole self is welcome in this sacred space we are creating together. We have some joys and sorrows to share. First, the flowers are provided by Catherine Vaccaro, honoring longtime member Jane Austen's birthday today. And Catherine's own shared birthday with her beloved father, Carl Owens, tomorrow. Happy early birthday. We have a thank you here. So many thanks to everyone who worked to clean up our beautiful campus after Hurricane Milton. And it's true, it needed cleaning afterwards if you got to see it right afterwards. So thank you so much. We know that you worked really hard, and Frank said that a lot of people helped with the cleanup. There was this family time for Dad's birthday. And then I have usually, and then there's a word there. I tried to get help to read it and I couldn't. And then it says thanks with a heart. But it's family time for Dad's birthday. Ah, yes. And this is a welcome to son David, love Mom and Dad. We did ask for a name, but I'm sure son David, you know who you are. We have a joy in recognition of Mike McCleskey, who is not here today, and it's for the one new little free library is still intact and leak-free after, after Milton, no damage. We have a couple of sorrows now. Please see, this is from Sarah Gray, who's asking us to please keep her family in our thoughts as they mourn the unexpected loss of a cousin last week. Sarah, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. We also have a note from Linnea that her brother, Larry Johnson, died peacefully yesterday at the age of 65 in Clearwater after a 2-year struggle with cancer. Linnea, his family, and close friends were with him when he died. And Linnea and Ted asked that we hold them in their family in love. And we have a note from Jackie Humphreys, who says that it was quite a challenging week for me, as I'm sure it was for everyone. My mother was discharged from the hospital before the storm to a facility in Bradenton near her brother, so he can help take care of her. I can no longer take care of her as my long COVID symptoms have gotten worse. She noted that she had to go a lot of back and forth movement to get things to her mom, who was evacuated during the storm and is currently in pretty bad shape after being in the hospital and then from the back and forth moving for evacuation. And Jackie also reports that she is currently in Jupiter with friends, but this whole episode with helping with her mom and then with the storm, that she is in pretty bad shape herself, and she's grateful that we are safe, that is, the members of this community are safe, and that the church made it through, and wish she could be here, but she asked for prayer and sending good vibes and energy to help her get the strength she needs to drive back to Orlando from Jupiter, as she can barely get out of bed at this moment. So again, somebody else to keep in our thoughts and prayer, and as she asked for us to send good vibes and good energy for her. And we know from the larger community that so much has happened. In a matter of just a few weeks, we have had to deal with first Hurricane Helene and then Milton, and many people did not even recover yet from Helene, and then Milton hit. So we know that many have lost their lives, and some are now homeless due to these storms. So may the recovery be swift and compassionate. And we continue to hold Orlando families in love in our communities with care, and the world with our compassion, by acting in all the small and large ways that will move the arc of justice. And for all the joys and all the sorrows of this community, those shared and those held close to the heart, let us pray, let us celebrate, and let us send one another healing energy. I now invite us into a moment of meditative prayer and we are going to first write a spontaneous poem called Warning, Not Listening. And so this is something based on the ideas of Reverend Beckett Coppola. I will first start us out with a first line, and then any one of you can raise your hand, and either Catherine or Neil will come with the mic and you add the next line. And then another, and so on and so on. And then at some point, somebody will say a line that will feel like we're heading toward a conclusion. Okay? So we'll end up with a piece that's written from us here, and then I will read it back to all of us. So, the things to keep in mind is the poem that we're writing is going to be called Warning, Not Listening. So the first line will be, if you want to talk about hate, I am not listening. But if you want to talk love, I'm here to listen. So, raise your hand.
Where's the next line? Oh, is that the line?
That's the first line.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So if you want to talk about hate, I'm not.
So your next line to add to that. Oh. So should I say it again?
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Now I understand. As a poet, okay. If you want to talk about exclusivity, I'm not listening. But if you want to talk about welcoming, I'm all here.
Would anybody else like to add? Yes.
If you want to say something negative about people from other countries, I'm not listening. If you want to be welcoming to the people that are doing so much to take care of our dear elders, I'm glad to share that gratitude with you.
If you want to talk trash about people, I'm not listening. If you want to talk trash about eco-recycling, that's a different story.
You said eco-recycling, thank you.
If you want to say you're not voting, I'm not with you. If you want to say you are, I'll drive you to the polls.
Would you repeat that again? I'm so sorry. Oh, not voting. I thought I heard voting. I was like, what? Okay.
If you want to talk about things that produce negative energy, I'm not listening. But if you want to talk about love and even act on love with others, I'm listening all day.
Can someone, maybe our poet, give us like some closing lines? Or other poets, I'm sorry, I don't want to say one poet here, poets.
If you want to throw shade, I'm not listening. But if you want to invite me into your light, I'll let mine shine too.
Okay. So, some of this will be paraphrased a little bit, so bear with me because I was trying to write as fast as you were. So now, if you could sit as comfortably as you can, and let me read back to you what we have come up with. If you want to talk if you want to talk about hate, I am not listening. But if you want to talk love, I'm here to listen. If you want to talk, I can't read my own writing. Yes. Thank you. If you want to talk about exclusivity, I am not listening. But if you want to talk about welcoming, I am all ear. If you want to say something negative about people from other countries, I am not listening. But if you want to say nice things about all the people taking care of our elderlies, I'm here to listen. If you want to talk trash about people, I'm not listening. But if you want to talk trash about eco-recycling, I'm there. If you want to talk about not voting, I am not listening. But if you want to vote, I will drive you to the polls myself. If you want to talk about things that produce negative energy, I am not listening. But if you want to talk about things that give life, I am here with you. If you want to throw shade, I am not with you. But if you want to shine your light, I will shine mine brightly with you. So this is what we have created together. And now I invite you to come forward and light a candle of welcome, of remembrance, and loving kindness. And I invite you to keep these words that we have written together on your heart as you come forward. The first candle we will light for those attending online, and we will light the last one for the joys and sorrows we continue to hold close to our hearts. So come forward as you are willing to light a candle.
of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
Friends, if your take on listening to the other side means giving time, resources, and floor space to xenophobia, misogyny, racism, and hate, I won't be. And that's not because of my politics, it is because of my religion. Hashtag UU faith is not neutral. It may sometimes be uncomfortable when we gather, and that's because what we center ourselves around is not anything that happens to be convenient, nor empty space, nor ethical relativism. We center ourselves around principles and also around a heritage. Those have always endeavored to call us into something more fully in keeping with God by any name, and they have also called us into what is also more beautifully human. I am here to point that out and to be pointed to and to point to it as long as I have breath. It's hard work, and we certainly do it together, but the primary benchmark is neither comfort for all nor equivalency and validation of every perspective. The measure instead is missional love. It is fierce. It does definitely listen, especially when it is risky. But beyond that, love attends to dynamics of power, how power is flowing, where it's centered, who it silences, and who it's benefiting. And we can thus assess at any point how we're doing in our work by looking to the margins. Does our faith, does our listening, does our love uplift the least of these? Let's keep thinking, feeling, being together while holding the challenge of the idea that sometimes the largest love means saying no. The Reverend Jordan Nelson. Beloveds, last week I invited us into the practice of deep listening, which is our theme for October. During the worship service, we listened and reflected on beautiful and insightful music. We meditated and practiced listening to the silence around us. We listened for wisdom from within. And in the UU feed for the month, I even offered gentle reminders on how to listen, as noted by the poem Joyce Stufen. Tilt your head slightly to one side and lift your eyebrows expectantly. Ask questions. Forget everything you've done. Make no comparisons. Simply listen. Listen with your eyes as if the story you are hearing is happening right now. This is your chance to listen carefully. Your whole life might depend on that hearing. End of quote. And I do continue to believe in the importance of deep listening as if our life depends on it. I also believe that there are messages, thoughts, and ideas that we ought not to center or make space for, especially as Unitarian Universalists. Many of us have often enough insinuated that as Unitarian Universalists we believe everything. but that is far from the truth. We are non-creedal, yes, but we have moral values and fundamental truth based on a system of belief that guide our way of being in the world. There are also beliefs and values that are hard passes for us. We believe in the humanity of every person and therefore owe it to them to make space to listen, even when we don't agree with the other person. We need to try to understand their point of view and ask ourselves, what is it at stake for them? We should also take the risk at being changed for the better by what we hear. At the same time, today, I invite us to reflect on a truth that is at the heart of Unitarian Universalism. It is articulated with great clarity by Jordan Long from the reading a short while ago. Our faith is not a neutral faith. This can be a challenging idea in a world where neutrality and balance are often held up as the ultimate virtues. We don't want to make waves. We want peace at any cost, even to the oppressed. We are reminded, however, that our calling is not to center ourselves in comfort or the validation of every perspective, but instead to orient ourselves toward love, a fierce love, missional love that shapes everything we do. And the practice of this deep listening ought to be in the service of helping us embody liberating love. Did you know that 85% of what we learn is through listening and not through reading or talking? This tells me how important it is to make space in our lives to listen to what will help us to continue to grow and become better and better human beings, and in our work of bringing about the beloved community. Let us take to heart what Reverend Taylor reminded us in our call to worship reading, which is, who we listen to is who we become, and what we listen for determines our path. Reverend Long speaks directly to the tension many of us feel in today's polarized world. There's a persistent temptation to treat all sides of an issue as equally deserving of our time, our resources, and our attention. We see it on the news all the time. We are taught that good discourse requires listening to all views, even when those views promote hatred, bigotry, and fear. But let us be clear, love is not neutral. It is not passive. It requires us to engage actively in the world and to make hard decisions about where we place our energy and attention. When Reverend Long says, if your take on listening to the other side means giving time, resources, and floor space to xenophobia, misogyny, racism, and hate, I won't, we are reminded that our faith demands boundaries. Our tradition, rooted in centuries of courageous commitment to justice, compels us to draw a line. We do not, in the name of civility, lend credibility to ideas that strip others of their humanity. And as Reverend Long emphasizes, this is not because of political affiliation, it is because of our religion. Unitarian Universalism is founded on principles that guide us toward justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We are called to celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. How then can we be neutral in the face of ideologies that deny the worth of some people because of their race, gender, nationality, or beliefs? To be neutral in such situations would be to fail in our mission. It would mean we have turned away from the fierce love that is the cornerstone of our faith. Love is the spirit of this church, of our faith, we say. Reverend Long tells us we center ourselves around principles and also around a heritage that calls us into something more fully in keeping with God by any name, and what also shows us what it means to be more beautifully human. A tradition calls us into fullness, into alignment with the holy, however we understand it. It calls us into deep relationship with each other, grounded in the belief that love has the power to transform not only individuals, but entire communities. However, this love, as Reverend Long notes, is not about comfort. It may sometimes be uncomfortable when we gather, she writes. And why is that? Because we are not centering ourselves around what is convenient, nor are we gathering around an empty space where all ideas are treated as equal. We gather to seek the highest ideals of love, justice, and compassion. And sometimes this means conflict, discomfort, and difficult conversations. These are the situations and spaces that call us to listen as if our lives depended on it. But let us not mistake discomfort for a lack of love. In fact, the opposite is true. When we engage deeply with the difficult realities of power, privilege, and oppression, we are living out the work of love. Reverend Long challenges us to ask critical questions. How is power flowing? Where is it centered? Who is it silencing? And who is it benefiting? These are the questions of a faith that is not neutral, a faith that demands we side with the marginalized and the oppressed. The true measure of our success as a faith community, then, is not how comfortable we can make everyone feel by validating every perspective, but how well we are centering love in our actions. And not just any love, a missional love that attends to dynamics of power. This is a love that listens even when it's risky, and that is willing to say no when needed, and that prioritizes the well-being of the vulnerable. Friends, this does not mean we are excused from listening to those we disagree with. Just because we don't make space for xenophobia, misogyny, racism, and hate does not excuse us from making space to listen to people we don't agree with. Listening to others, especially those we may fundamentally disagree with, is also a part of love. But listening is not the same as validating harmful ideas or giving them a platform. We listen to understand, to seek what might be at stake for those people, but that transformation must also be, and to open ourselves up to be transformed, but that transformation must always be in the service of love. As we gather in community, let us remember that we are not here for equivalency or neutrality. We are here for transformation. We are here to build a world where the inherent worth and dignity of every person is not just affirmed in word, but lived in our deed. And we do this work not alone, but together. It is hard work, but we do it certainly together. May we continue to think, feel, and be together in this work, holding fast to the challenge that the largest love sometimes means saying no. But even in saying no, may we also remain open to the risk of being changed for the better by what we hear. May we be so blessed. And I now invite you to join me in singing our closing hymn, number 291, My Thoughts Are Free. The words are projected on the screen. May we be a people of deep listening, committed listening, a listening that leads to healing, a listening that leads to wholeheartedness, a listening that helps us grow in compassion, a listening that helps us discern an action for justice making that you can make, a listening that nurtures the self-change, that nurtures the self-change. May you find your practice of listening to be a blessing for yourself. May your listening be a blessing to others. Listen. Reverend Joe Cleveland. Beloveds, worship has ended, and now the service truly begins, and Paul Knight will tell us about our call to action for this week.
So if you're talking about not participating in the Pride Parade, I'm not listening. If you're talking about coming out next Saturday and participating and supporting our LGBTQ plus friends and family members, I am all ears, okay? So, one you chooses to be a part of the Pride Parade to demonstrate our clear and unwavering commitment as Unitarian Universalists to our values that support the LGBTQ plus community and individuals that we so love. We participate in the parade as a way to communicate that UUs welcome all on their spiritual journey. On that note, everyone here and all of our congregational members are welcome to participate in the parade, whether you would like to be a walker or a rider, or just to help decorate on Saturday before the parade so that you can walk with another group. This year, there has been an exciting change to the parade route. So instead of going down south of Lake Eola, they're actually going to take us back up toward Robinson, which is where the sponsor walk area is. So that should be an exciting change of where we're going to go. And of course, our call to action today would be to register using the QR code. We've got 5 new registrations this morning, so we need a few more. Let's all make sure that we register for the parade so we know who's coming. Once registered, you will receive an email in a few days with the specific details and location of where to meet. The Pride organization has not provided that yet, but they expect to have the staging area defined in a few days, so we'll be able to get you that information. But generally, we'll be meeting around 2 p.m.-ish to decorate the truck and trailer and prepare for the 4 p.m. parade start. If you can't make the decorating, you can always meet us at 3:30 p.m. sharp on North Orange Avenue. The cross street will be provided as soon as we have that information. We will have a brief safety meeting before the 4 p.m. kickoff time of the parade. We do expect to offload any riders who want to visit the booth and vendors at the end of the parade and then continue down Robinson back to the church to remove decorations and return the trailer by 5:30 p.m. Again, if you sign up using the QR code, you will get an email with the specific location where to meet us as soon as we get that from the parade organizers. Thank you. Awesome. So we'll be there, guys. Come on now.
Please say these words with me as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.